It is truly an honor to be here this afternoon, and especially being able to bring your husband home from the hospital. He did say this afternoon when he laid down in his bed that if they could make the beds at the hospital feel like his home bed, that he probably would have gotten well a whole lot faster. Of course, he had something to say about the food, too, but he would love to be here, but he's there where he needs to be. You know, when I reflected on Memorial Day, one of the things I thought about was this audience and all of us. And I thought about who we are. There are veterans here. There are fathers and mothers and wives and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and grandparents and grandchildren, all represented here. Just to tell you a little bit about my background in all of that, I am the daughter of Ralph Samuel Holloway, and my father served in the Merchant Marines in the Coast Guard in World War II in South Pacific. I am also the niece of Captain Jack Ferris, whose plane was lost coming back from World War II over Alaska, and he was never found. His plane was never found. And I remember as a small child going down the street with my mother from time to time, and she would think that she might see the back of his head, thinking that just maybe, he got to come home. I'm also the sister of William Newton Holloway, my little brother, 6'4", but he's always going to be my little brother. He served in the Navy during the Vietnam War on a nuclear submarine, protecting our lands. I'm also the little sister of retired Major Ralph Holloway, who served in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot during the Vietnam War. He has earned the Bronze Star, the Silver Star, and the Purple Heart. You know, there's somebody else I'm also kin to, and I'm very proud of her, and she's passed away several years ago. But I am the niece of Polly Ferris Book. Polly was a young woman living in Houston, Texas, and she decided she wanted to study art when she was 37 years old in the late 30s. She moved to New York City. That was quite an adventuresome thing for a young woman to do. But when World War II came out or started, she decided that she also wanted to serve, and she joined the United Services Organization, and she painted portraits of wounded servicemen and women all over this world. She was on combat planes and boats and trains, and she painted over 3,000 of them. This is a photograph of one of them. What she did is she kept very meticulous records. She kept these little black diaries, and in it is a photograph of each one of the portraits that she painted. And in it, she had the serviceman or woman write about their experience, and they put their name and their address and it's overwhelming to me just how much appreciation they showed for just a small act of kindness of painting their portrait. And many of them were very proud of knowing that that portrait was going to go to their mom or their wife or their family. And then I'm also the wife of Hugh Tyler, who I've talked to you about, that just came home today. And he served in the Air National Guard, and he was called to active duty when the Pueblo was seized. Now, if I talk to each one of you, and I've talked with several of you before already, today and in years past, you'd have your own stories too. Each of you have the stories that have been represented by some of the grave sites that we saw today, and the fact that you are here today. Throughout the 400-year history of the United States, Americans have fought in battlefields near and far, and in clashes large and small, sometimes alone and sometimes with allies. From the American Revolution in the late 18th century to today, where we have men and women fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan and now Libya, these conflicts have shaped our policies, our culture, and it defines our boundaries, and it certainly has cost thousands of lives. Whatever you make of wars in which these soldiers fought, whatever you make of war itself, their sacrifices are real and permanent. How death came to them, now or then, is something that only they can know. We who have not been called to war, or who have not lost someone that's dear and near to us, though, still feel that loss. Those are the things that we try to remember here when we're leaving this springtime and welcoming summer. Memorial Day has a long history in our country. Southern women used to decorate the graves even before Civil War. In many areas of the country, it was called Decoration Day. And in 1868, Commander John Logan, the Grand Army of the Republic, he designated Memorial Day as a purpose of decorating graves who died, for people who died in defense of their country. Memorial Day is not about war or division. It's about reconciliation. It's about coming together to honor those who gave their all. So today is about those and remembering those who have served and who paid the ultimate sacrifice. It is about remembering those who still serve. The men and women who serve today in Iraq and Afghanistan and all parts of the world are working to not only ensure our safety and our freedom, but to ensure the safety and freedom of others. I found a poem today, and we have some poets in the crowd I know, so I'm not so sure. I couldn't write one, I can tell you that, sir, so I borrowed one. And it's from Commander Kelly Strong, who is with the U.S. Coast Guard retired, and I'll close with this poem. I watched the flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud, with hair cut square and eyes alert. He'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears, how many pilots' planes shot down, how many died at sea, how many foxholes were soldiers' graves. No, freedom isn't free. I heard the sounds of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times the taps had meant amen when a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea, of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom isn't free. Thank you very much. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America.